Starting out with Beast Texas this morning. Of course, this segment is once again sponsored by Stiles Electric, proudly serving East Texas from offices in Longview and Mount Pleasant. Stiles Electric has provided reliable, professional electrical services for over a quarter century. For quality workmanship and trusted experience, choose Stiles Electric and service that speaks for itself. Well, we'll start out here with the result of last night, the girls 2A D2 state championship. Unfortunately, our local team came up a little bit short last night. Martins Mill goes down to Lipan by 7, 42-35 there in the Alamo Dome, which of course is my backdrop for today's show. It's an interesting place always, just talking about the Alamo Dome, at least watching on TV. I've been to the Alamo Dome, but never with a basketball setup. And I don't know, I'm one of those guys that don't necessarily enjoy watching basketball in a dome when it kind of feels like they pushed you off in a corner there with the curtain and everything. I don't know. It just kind of, it would be tough to me to consider having to shoot like I normally would in a big cavernous place like that.
Right.
But anyway, all of that aside, Martins Mill makes it to the state championship, but again, comes up 7 points short.
Yeah. Lipan, a heck of a program right there. And, was hated to see it was certainly, I mean, we've literally adopted Martins Mill over the last few weeks. It's not like we go way back for them.
Probably where you and I feel comfortable talking that we try to keep tabs on out there and north of Athens and just south of Canton, the Canton area. It's kind of right there on the border of where you and I normally talk about. But hey, when a team and a program and a school like that is so successful, particularly in basketball, hey, we can adopt them. Who's going to stop us, right?
For sure.
So congratulations to the Martins Mill girls there on another fine season of basketball. Again, coming up short as the state runner-up in last night's girls UIL state action. Another full slate of games going on down there today, 4 games today, and then they'll finish that off with another 4 tomorrow. They're all playing in San Antonio's Alamo Dome. Coming back home just a little bit closer here to talk about the boys, we do have 3 region final games going on this evening. We mentioned this a little bit yesterday, but just wanted to repeat that for everyone. Liberty Iowa is facing Dallas Madison in the boys 3A D1 Region 2 final. They're being played at Tyler Junior College this evening. Boys 2A D1 Region 3 final is Hawkins versus San Augustine. That's an all East Texas final there in the region. That takes place this evening at 6:30 at Beckville High School. And then there's still hope for Martins Mill to bring home a state championship trophy at this point, because their boys are taking on Chireno this evening at 7 o'clock in Lufkin in the boys 2A D2 Region 3 final. So those are your remaining UIL basketball games from our area here in these regional finals. And hey, the good thing is we're going to get at least 2 teams from our area that we cover down in San Antonio next week at the state championship, because 2 of those games are all East Texas finals.
That's right.
That's also the benefit of adopting teams. You increase your chances of going to the state tournament.
That's right. Yeah. You, especially when you find one that's ranked in the top 5, right?
That's right. I'm going to be a Duke fan now, right?
Hey, come on.
It's time
Stop
of year.
that. No.
Baseball tournaments, man, baseball actually started, some of them started their district play earlier this week in our area, but they have returned to tournament play this week. And just about every team I could find, Matt, and looked at their schedules are playing tournaments. I believe this is the final round of tournaments, final round of weekend tournaments in the area. But you got tournaments going on everywhere in baseball. Hallsville's got one, Tatum's got one, Lufkin's hosting theirs, Mount Pleasant's hosting theirs, and several more going on. So there's some baseball around. If you can get it today, I would probably caution everyone, you probably want to watch it today, because tomorrow it looks like it's going to be a washout.
It really does. It looks like
2 inches of rain predicted for our area tomorrow.
Yeah. Definitely.
Softball district play again continues tonight. They are a couple of weeks actually into their district schedule, so make sure you know where your local team is playing this evening. It's a district game most likely, and of course those always mean something at the end of the season for sure. Wanted to kind of start something new today in each of our segments with a question of the day, where you and I get to really just kind of talk about and break down some things. And I know this one that we've chosen, or I've chosen actually, would go well with you, with some opinions with your doings at KMHT and in the radio business. But you know, as I was trying to kind of follow the game last night down in San Antonio for Martin's Mill, I couldn't find anything without going to either, you know, the back pages of Twitter somewhere. Again, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Matt Stepp do a pretty good job of keeping you updated on things like that. But when you kind of have a lull and you're kind of wondering where the game's at, if it's over, that kind of thing, I mean, it's just kind of hard to do that. And the reason being is, I mean, you can watch the game if you're willing to pay a fee for a streaming fee from the NFHS streaming service, which has gained control over all of the broadcasting rights for the UIL. And my question today is, from your perspective, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit in the past, particularly in football season, it becomes a hurdle for you guys at KMHT and other local broadcasters when you do get into the postseason for streaming, right?
Yeah.
So just kind of give me your perspective on that, and then I'll tell you kind of where I sit on it.
Well, I got a couple. I can actually view this from a couple different perspectives. One, as someone who's intimately involved with the athletic program at Marshall and always working in the press box and, you know, doing coaches shows and things like that. And then of course, from the radio side of things, it's very frustrating. It is a lot of, like, there are a lot of times, like when we get to high school football playoffs, Ashley Dansby, our general manager at the station, is like Sunday afternoon having to come in and put in requests, even though the game may not be till Friday, because if you don't do it early enough, you might not get it. And I don't like that. I don't like that it's hijacked that way. So from the radio side of things, now of course we can still broadcast on the radio. This is only the streaming thing, right? But now, and this is going to move into the other side, the perspective of from the athletic, being involved with an athletic program. But I'll start with the radio side of things. Radio is meant to be listened to. The fact that we constantly feel pressure and get a lot of feedback about, well, this isn't very good video quality, or this isn't, I'm like, we're a radio station. Like, that is what we are. But I'm going to go now to the athletic side of things, and like, the more streaming we make available, you and I've talked about this, the less people are coming to games. They're not coming to games like what, you know, you go to Elysian Fields and you see it packed out. But we see it at some of these bigger schools. My goodness, you even talked about how easy it was to get a Carthage ticket in one of their biggest regular season games of the year, because your connection there said, look, it's barely gonna be half full. So I don't like that NFHS has a monopoly on this, but at the same time, if it prevents streaming from becoming widespread, I don't necessarily mind it, because I don't know how much I like the whole streaming thing anyway, because I want people to be at the games.
Part of it, I do agree, and we have talked about that in football. I'm a big believer in that I do believe that the local streaming over Facebook and YouTube and things like that, of course, all of that really got started during the COVID, a couple of years there of COVID. And it was a good thing. It was a good thing. It allowed people who felt uncomfortable coming, you know, to a football game that was live. It allowed them the opportunity to continue to follow their team. But yes, I do believe at the larger schools, it has hurt attendance. There's no question about it in my mind. And I do agree, and I understand where you guys say KMHT come along, because you've kind of created a market that you really had no control over, right?
Yeah.
So a good thing for you guys and for the community, and actually providing that service when it was needed, now kind of works against you in many ways, in trying to work with your partner at the high school and the school district.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to fix that. I mean, I'm not that smart. I don't know that it can be fixed. It's kind of like Pandora's box. It's already out. So, you know, now the thing is, how do you work together to make it better and keep everyone happy? the main thing is if you want to watch a football game and experience it all, go to the stadium and support the kids. I mean,
Yes.
don't make it all about you sitting in your home on Friday night where you can watch a game on Facebook or whatever and then complain about it. Like you said, it is what it is. You are a radio station working largely with one camera, and it's not going to be an NFL Sunday broadcast. It's just not. No. There's that part of it. There's this other part of it that, again, I'm a little bit, and I remember, back in the day of when I was full-time sports editor there in Marshall, really back in the day, 25, 30 years ago. Yeah. But this was going on with the UIL, and of course the UIL owns all of the rights to all of their UIL events. Particularly, it's a problem in the playoffs when you're a local media outlet and you're trying to cover your team. You have to jump through all kinds of hoops. The farther you go in the postseason to even get a spot in the building.
Right.
That was a problem 30 years ago. And I know from some radio buddies that I have known over the years that it continues to be a problem with trying to get, broadcasting rights, even on the radio. I mean, you do have to get approval by the UIL to be able to do that. I did look up with my good friend Chat, last name GPT.
Yeah.
And
how you pronounce that?
I just call him Chat, my boy Chat. But of course, the UIL does, as I said, own all of the broadcasting rights for all of their events. And it's very similar in that regard to the NCAA. And they have made this agreement, this deal with what's called the NFHS, actually stands for National Federation of State High School Associations. That's one of my problems here in my conservative mindset, is that we're bringing in a national group to come in and have the streaming rights on all of our, Texas high school. But it is important to understand the UIL owns that right. So this is a contract that they've signed for a certain period of time with this particular group. Okay.
Right.
And they are the primary digital streaming platform. As you said, radio can still go on the radio and follow that. Case in being, just in point, but no better example than Carthage, right? Carthage,
right.
K-Gas gets to go and broadcast their state championship games. But the key, and as you said, they can't stream it like they do during a regular Friday night in the fall.
Right.
But the problem with that is, and for me anyway, I don't know if it's so much a problem as just a nuisance, is that you have to pay for that service. And, in many ways, in a lot of ways, well, most times it's just really, it's either a bit cheaper or just right at the same amount as you would pay for a ticket to the game. But for some reason, I hate paying that.
Yeah.
Right. I hate paying that. And that's just me being an old guy and not wanting to pay money for something that would be in my own home from the most part. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of an annoyance, and most people don't see it. And look, we're going to have Jack Stallard as a guest host next week while Matt is on, one day anyway, on his spring break trip. But I know Jack from following him and talking to him. He gets all kinds of complaints and things like that coming from people who don't like to go behind a quote paywall to read a story.
Right.
Now, how do you expect someone to do what Jack Stallard does, do all the work, his time, his effort, and a newspaper that's trying to make money in a struggling industry, trying to look for all kinds of new ways to stay afloat? Most newspapers are. And you expect him to give you that work for free. I mean, that's kind of the same kind of mindset. So I kind of feel guilty when I feel myself, I'm not paying, like last night, I wasn't going to pay NFHS to watch the 2A girls state basketball championship. But I could have if I wanted to. But it's a, I don't know if you want to call it a problem or, like I said, a nuisance, but it gets on my nerves.
Well, and what I kind of compare it to is, and look, now in the day of DoorDash and everything, I don't know. I don't ever do that where I live, so I don't know how much how much things cost. But in general, if you want something delivered to your house as opposed to just going to the restaurant, sitting down and eating it, in general, that's going to cost a little bit more. I would expect, you know, you have to pay a tip to the driver, and there's a delivery fee and all the rest. And you think, why does that cost more? Well, it's primarily because convenience. You want something that's more convenient for you, therefore it typically costs more. That's just sort of the way it works. And so that's kind of my whole take on this thing with with you know, getting to stream it, is it really should cost. It should cost more than the price of a ticket to the game, I feel like. Not as a punishment or whatever, but at the end of the day, like, if you want to be able to experience something, but you want it in the convenience of your own home, usually that's more costly. And so that's just kind of the way I view it. I don't really like the hoops we have to jump through for NFHS at the radio station. That's frustrating, but the root of it all is the whole streaming thing. And you know, I think we both kind of said it. It's just, we'd like to see full packed houses rather than
and
800 people on a stream.
Yeah, is NFHS and UIL control over broadcasting rights. In many ways, that's been the case forever. Dealing with UIL, they've always had the broadcasting rights. This is how they've chosen to do their streaming part of it. But when it does keep people away from the stadium, I guess I'm okay with, if you're going to do this, you're still going to pay the price of the ticket. My question is, do schools get some of that money?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Did Martin's Mill get a cut of whatever, you know, NFHS took in their subscription fees last night?
Right.
That would be my question on that. If so, and they're getting a little bit of that to kind of offset ticket prices, say at a home game or whatever, then I guess I'm okay with it. But the way to get around it all, guys, is just go watch your team play. Support your team in person, as old school, and you know, if you do want to listen to the great broadcasting on KMHT and your local radio station, take some headsets, take some, you know, some ear pods, and take them and put them in your ear and listen to it. I've seen that too, and it works. But anyway, that's a good question for us to talk about. And like I said, we've kind of beat it to death back in football season, but I noticed that last night, and I was struggling with the thought of it again. So I wanted to talk with you again this morning, and from your expert broadcast opinion.
Yeah. Oh, well, I use that term loosely, but yeah.
You are the expert in the room, definitely, when we talk about that kind of stuff. And theology, probably.